Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 and our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition and we turn out a poem 665, dropped into the Ether Acre. Some of you will maybe remember when we did poem 280 together. I felt a funeral in my brain and mourners to and fro kept treading till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated, a service like a drum kept beating till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creak across my soul with those same boots of lead again. Then space began to toll, and as the heavens were a pell, and being but an ear, and I in silence, some strange race wrecked solitary here. And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down and hit a world at every plunge, and finished knowing then. Now, here we're back to another death poem in this poem dropped into the Ether Acre. Our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. You guys will maybe remember in an earlier set of lectures where we did another death poem, that Emily at the age of 21 was reported to have said to her pal Jane Humphrey the following, quote, "The other day I tried to think how I should look with my eyes shut and a little white gown on and a snowdrop on my breast, and I fancied I heard the neighbors steadying on so softly to look down on my face, so fast asleep, so still." At a very young age, Emily was already considering the questions of death and dying. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 664 poems. We just finished with 664 of All the Souls That Stand Create. And I'm very interested in our paying attention to the sounds of this poem, especially the B sounds. And then as well, I want you to remember that the book of Revelation in the King James Version of the Bible was Emily's favorite book of the Bible as we hear another death poem. What's it like to die? Dropped into the Ether Acre wearing the sod gown, bonnet of everlasting laces, brooch frozen on, horses of blonde and coach of silver, baggage a strapped pearl, journey of down, and whip of diamond, riding to meet the Earl. Now, the use of the word Earl will take us back to 213 and 452. And I think it's significant. Here in a bit, we're going to finish with poem 712, maybe Emily's most famous poem about death. But notice we begin with poem 280. You'll remember I dropped down and down. Notice the poem here begins with this word, dropped into the Ether Acre. You'll remember the blessed ether of poem 262. In other words, being dropped into the hole. Wearing the sod gown. Now, of course, you'll remember the white dress of 271, 325, 388, 542, and 558. But now notice here now, we're going into the ground. And the word gown gets used in 26 poems, so we'll see this as one of those things. What you're wearing, in other words, when you die. Now, I think it's significant to marry a poem like this to her contemporary Walt Whitman, and especially Song of Myself, Passage 6. A child fetching the rest of me asked, "What is the grass?" You'll remember there that musing on death. What is it that he says to die is luckier from different from when anyone supposed and luckier. We've given full lectures on that, all those poems of Leaves of Grass in our other series called Talks with Walt at learnstrong.net. But notice here, continue with the dress, bonnet of everlasting laces, brooch frozen on, of course, as one is in the ground. And then horses of blonde. Now when we hit 712, we'll come back to these horses because I could not stop for death poem. And coach of silver, notice the blonde and the silver. Baggage a strapped pearl. Notice now we're going from gowns to pearls. You can't read this and not think, of course, of her love of the King James Bible and Matthew 13:46 and the pearl of great price. Only here, of course, the pearl is as well maybe what she's wearing as she goes to her grave, her burial. And then it is journey of down. And I think so much, as we've said, of Homer stands behind so much of what Emily's doing. Of course Homer, of course Dante, no doubt. We've given full lectures at learnstrong.net on all those journey epics, as we have called them, yes? Journey of down, in other words, being taken down into the ground. And whip of diamond, of course, whip going with ponies of blonde, right? Riding to meet the earl. It is significant that she'll use this language, this elevated language, this language of class, as she is talking specifically, of course, about going to meet God. When we get to poem 712, think about the echoes that we will hear from this poem to that poem. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the rain. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, notice the frozen of this poem, and now 712. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. Now, at 2A, what are we going to do with a poem like this in terms of a message? I think the journey of death is mysterious for Emily and remains so. At 2B, I mentioned the B sounds of this poem, and of course, notice here she'll mention deity as an earl and not as to be referenced in the King James Bible. At 3A, well, of course, we mentioned 712. Finally, at 3B, to own a poem like this, how do you think about the journey of down? I hope Emily's challenging you. Thank you.